What's good, guys? Welcome back to another video. If you guys watched the video from yesterday, then you should have been able to take advantage of the Bitcoin move. Basically, we ended up getting a 2R, but potentially could have been a 4 to 5R, but still a win is a win. And that puts us up to 15 wins and 7 losses for the year, with about 135 wins and 35 losses from last year. So overall, I'm still around a 75% win rate on all of the publicly documented trades. So if you're new to the channel, just understand that I tend to be right a little bit more often than I'm wrong. But just on another note, we also managed to pass a funding challenge that I started on Monday, and we passed it in basically 3 to 4 days. And this is also something else that is possible when the market conditions are a lot better, which in this case, market conditions are fantastic, not just on Bitcoin, but also on other assets like gold and oil and, just a lot of TradFi stuff. But just a final note, I am starting a couple of more funding challenges. If you guys would like to follow along every single trade that I take and just live trade alongside with me for the next 30 days, click the first link in the description box below. It's the earlier you join VIP, the more value you're going to get from it, because it will be closed on April 19th. If you get it now, there's still 30 days worth of value that you can still get. Obviously, the more you procrastinate and the more you wait, it's not going to be worth as much. Plus, based on the trades that I've already taken, I just passed the funding challenge in 3 days. That was a 6% gain. If you were in the group and if you managed to make even just 5% or 3%, you would make your money back very easily. But outside of that, let's get into the video. So starting things off on the daily chart, we are looking at a bearish daily bias, which means we're going to be looking for a short. In fact, today has been pretty straightforward so far. This is a 1 hourly PD array, specifically a 1 hourly order block that price seems to be coming back into. Not only that, but you have a potential market maker sell model, in the sense that this is your smart money reversal. First impulse up, second impulse up into a higher time frame key level, and now all you need is going to be a breakdown. Basically, a 1 hourly candle close beneath 70,450 will validate the market maker sell model, and you can trade this lower. Now, not to say that you cannot start getting the shorts now, but I would highly recommend waiting for, at the very least, a 1 hourly change in state delivery at that level that I marked out. Now, in terms of the 15-minute chart, this would also kind of align with, a CISD towards the downside. Even on the 5-minute chart, this would be the undeniable CISD. One thing to keep in mind, though, is the fact that we do not have news today, which means that on a scale of 1 to 10, where 1 is the absolute worst day that you could be trading and 10 being the absolute best day you could be trading, then we're probably sitting at around a 5 to 6, maybe 7 at best. Now, we do have a very clear setup on Bitcoin. So just because there is no news doesn't mean that we cannot trade it. But just understand that on a non-news day, the probability for trades playing out is, well, it tends to be a little bit lower. So the two ways that you can kind of counteract this, one is by going half risk, or two is by waiting for an undeniable CISD. Hence why I mentioned this level in particular. But I'm not looking to be too aggressive today, basically, is what I'm saying. And that includes all of the other assets that I'm looking at as well. Just case in point, I've looked through more than 5 or 6 different pairs today. And I think realistically speaking, we have one setup, maybe, and that's going to be on Euro. And by the way, this is also something that I do every single day into VIP, which is before the market starts. Heck, even in the London session, I'm trading. It's not just New York, and I'm going to send, exact trade setups that I'm looking at for a lot of different assets, not just Bitcoin. Basically, the few things that you're going to be seeing throughout VIP over the next 30 days is A, the exact setups that I'm eyeing, but B, the exact moment when those setups become tradable, and C, everything else in between that I either pass or you'll see the exact moment where I take the trade. It's just a lot of execution focus. If you've been struggling with trade execution, something that really helps is just seeing someone execute this day in, day out for, a certain period of time. And this is going to be a really, focused session. And chances are your execution will improve as a result of that, because so much of it is not even about theory, right? A lot of you think that you need more knowledge. Chances are you already have the knowledge, because you're on YouTube all day and you're watching videos like this, which means that the only thing that is preventing your knowledge from being transferred into real cold hard cash is execution, which is what VIP is built to solve. But otherwise, just going back to Bitcoin real quick, one of the other things is that in the event that we continue, forming a CIC towards the upside, especially during the New York Hill Zone, which is from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. New York later, then obviously this is going to be a no trade. We do need this to happen before we jump into the trade. If this happens, it's going to be super easy. Anytime before that happens, you're just waiting for confirmation. It may or may not happen today. I do think that it will happen sometime during the New York session, considering that, we're already that close to the level. All we need is to kind of close below it. But hey, we might end up with a no trade, who knows? But in the event that price starts pumping, it's not like we have to chase it either. We can always just come back next week on Monday, where once you get a confirmed CIC towards that upside, we will just jump in once we get a confirmed, change in trend. Because jumping in right now onto a bullish trade, it means that you are running into all of this resistance. And even if you don't look at the resistance, on the daily chart, you've had multiple candles down below. Now, going long right now just means that you're going to be running into all of this resistance, which is not going to be good in it's not going to be good for longs. But anyways, right now, I'm just going to pull up the sell zones because I do need to see where the Asia high is. And so far, we've already swept above the Asia high, which is a good sign for, validating short ideas. Basically, if we're going short, we ideally want to see the Asia high already being swept prior to the point that we take the trade. And if we're going long, we ideally want to see the Asia low being swept prior to the point that we take a long. The reason for that is because there is oftentimes a lot of liquidity above and below the Asia high and low. And if this is taken out already, it means that a lot of the liquidity above is already swept out, right? The buy side liquidity, there's no longer much reason for the market makers to bring the price towards the upside. But there is a whole lot more reason for the market makers to drop the price down because it means that all of the stops here have not yet been taken. So that's kind of like the theory behind why we would like to look for Asia highs and lows and why this matters. So yeah, overall, this is just going to validate the overall, trade idea, which is as long as you get SCIZ towards the downside, the Asia low remains the target. And obviously, like the intraday target, you always kind of try to target the previous daily low, in which case this is going to be at 68,770. And yep, this gives you quite a bit of movement, although I'm not too sure if we're even going to get this amount of volatility today, purely because like it's a non-news day. So just keep that in mind. Moving on to Ethereum, we have a bearish daily bias, and if we go down into the hourly chart, we can see that we are coming back into the zone of resistance, which, by the way, like the setup yesterday, super straightforward. If you guys recall what I said from earlier, coming back into this resistance means that you are going to drop. That is exactly, what happened yesterday. I hope you guys took advantage of it. In fact, I'm not the only one who's had success with funding challenges recently. Crypto Hustler, shout out to you for passing your funding challenge using the system, which is another thing that I'm really, really just proud of you guys for. Just you don't like it used to be around 6 to 8 months ago, maybe 12 months ago, I really needed to be active on X just to call every single trade. Otherwise, a lot of you would miss it. But nowadays, I'm seeing a lot of you like actually take a trade before I do. And, on some days where I missed a trade, you guys manage to get it and you guys are making profit by yourselves. And shout out to you guys. Like my videos aside, good job for putting in the work and for getting to where you are. But outside of that, Ethereum, today we're going to be running into a very similar setup where we're coming into this zone of resistance here. A candle close beneath 2135 will validate the short. And if it happens, I would even think that, with Ethereum, it's a little bit higher probability than Bitcoin. But no, at the same time, not really. So yeah, no, not really. With Ethereum, you already swept out the highs. So in the event that you confirm that changes delivery to the downside, this is going to be a little bit of a broken base, which for those of you who know, that is one of the highest probability kind of like reversal kind of signals out there. So yeah, Ethereum is also looking super clear. And in terms of intraday targets, you have the current daily low, or potentially that is the previous daily low. You have these couple of lows back there. So basically 2100 or 2060. Basically going to be an intraday target. In fact, you have a couple of relatively lows here at 2080 as well. So yeah, it's a pretty nice bit of movement that you can catch on Ethereum as far as the intraday trade goes today. Now moving on to Solana real quick, we can take a look that yeah, for the most part, this is just playing out exactly the same way as Ethereum, so nothing too much to talk about. I would still just prioritize Ethereum and Bitcoin over Solana at this point until, at the very least, until some certainty in the markets come back. Now, if there's one thing that I just want to take a moment to reflect on is that in this week alone, we've had more wins in like the last 3 days compared to the last 30 days of, the entirety of February. And it goes back to what I was talking about in February, where if market conditions do not fit your system, guess what? It's going to be a very low trading month, or you're probably going to lose a lot more trades than usual, which is perfectly normal. It's not like it's your fault. It's market conditions. And when market conditions return, that is optimal for your system. That's when you start to see the success again. Back then, we had a lot of doubters. We had a lot of haters saying that, oh yeah, your system's broken. Yeah, of course. Market conditions were ranging the whole time. And I said that. And yet, now that, we're trending again and we're winning again, it's just like, I don't know what to say. It's just, if you're ever like running into like a rough patch in your trading, just keep in mind that there are always two types of errors that are happening that could be causing you to lose trades or just have a bad slump. One is a mistake that you're making yourself, which is basically, you are the one making the error, where, you're FOMOing, you're revenge trading, you're taking trades that you shouldn't be trading, you're trading too much, whatever. That's an issue that is start to finish. The only person to blame is you. And that is something that you should fix. And it is something that you can fix. And then there's the second type of reason why you might be in a slump, which is market conditions. If you are primarily trading a trend trading system, which is what I trade, and if the market is in a range, guess what? You're not going to have that many opportunities. It's all up to market conditions. And in those cases, the goal is survival. Like, you need to make it through the rough periods so that when the market conditions return, you can start going all in again. And case in point, I passed the funding challenge that I started on Monday and I passed it yesterday. So that isn't proof enough of what I mean when I say, these things, then I don't know what is. But otherwise, guys, we've had a splendid trading week and I look forward to repeating this again next week. If you would like to get the front row seats to all of these trades that I'm going to be doing next week, then VIP is your place. But otherwise, I'll see you guys next week. And I'll see you guys later on X if I see any trades. But like, I don't know if I'm going to be particularly aggressive on trading today, considering that it's a non-news day and it's a Friday. But otherwise, safe trading. Have a good weekend. Ciao, ciao.